Hello everybody, welcome to That's Football. I'm Mark Goldbridge and we're back with another Saturday afternoon, 3 PM Watchalongs. It's FA Cup this time. I'll give you my thoughts on that. I've got a lot to say actually. I have been down the pub at lunchtime and I've had a couple of whiskies, so I'm feeling a bit frisky with the whiskey. Not in that way, just in relation, I feel opinionated. Yeah, Chelsea going to play Morecambe. We're going to keep an eye on that. We've got a lot of other games going on. I like the FA Cup. I like the FA Cup third round. I thought Villa West Ham was interesting, but me and Robbie spoke about this on the channel yesterday. Man United Arsenal is literally the only game of any interest. I think that there are so many games that are just absolutely dead rubber. Liverpool Accrington Stanley, Chelsea Morecambe, Man City are going to beat Salford. I crave an upset, but I just don't think we're going to get one. I think that. That's where we are. Where's the tree, says Sim. Well, where do you think it is? Up your chuff. Where do you think it is? It's bloody Christmas a week ago. Yeah. It's gone. It's gone down, mate. Oh, it's flat. It's not coming back up for a while. Anyway, Birmingham City won. There are some results that have come in from the FA Cup today. Rotherham. What was that? Oh, what's going on? I need FA Cup here. FA Cup, please. Yeah, FA Cup. Birmingham beat Lincoln 2-1. Bristol lost to Wolves, surprisingly, 2-1. Blackburn knocked out Middlesbrough. Liverpool beat Accrington 4-0. Leicester are beating QPR 3-2 at half-time. I think the gap between the Premier League and every other league is just absolutely massive these days. I think that's what it's all about, isn't it? But we have got some opportunities potentially in the 3 o'clock games. Chelsea host Morecambe. Brentford host Plymouth. Bournemouth host West Brom. Could we get a Premier League team, just one Premier League team knocked out? Forest at home to Luton. Leeds, Harrogate. Yeah, I don't see it. I don't see it. I really, really don't. The magic of the FA Cup. Well, I just think the draw's crap, really. Do you think Man City will win by 2 goals, says Caitlin? Easily. Tanishk says that, did Seb slip or did the leash tackle Seb? It's definitely a red. Definitely a red in my opinion. Yeah, definitely. Check that out on my Instagram at GoldbridgeMark for that. Love it. Let me just say that. Would love that. Sorry, I'm just getting a message about a transfer. Anyway. Yes, Ashley Young. Okay. Get your comments in. Let's have some controversial opinions this Saturday afternoon. It's cold out there and we've got some cold opinions for you, hopefully. I have been waiting to talk about this. I'm sure we'll probably talk about it on the podcast on Monday, but hopefully there'll be a lot more to talk about too. I am absolutely flabbergasted by just how, not woke, but how weak and snowflake society is. So let me paint the picture here. Everton are playing Peterborough in the FA Cup on Thursday night. First of all, why are we doing the FA Cup on a Thursday night? What's that twat nonsense all about? Stupid. Why are we spreading them out from Thursday to Monday? It should be Friday, Saturday, Sunday, done. So that's one thing. You're spreading a tournament out that people aren't interested in. Compact it. It's like going round your in-laws' house from 12 o'clock until 6 o'clock. Make it 2 till 4. Anyway, Ashley Young, Everton. His son, Peterborough. Ashley Young comes on. Peterborough, Darren Ferguson doesn't bring his son on. Ashley Young tweets he's gutted. Check your bank accounts, Ashley. I'm sure you won't be gutted for long. Loads of people start saying, oh, miserable Peterborough, not bringing him on. They could have broke the record for having father and son on the same pitch in the FA Cup at the same time. And my opinion on this is, what is this fantasy nonsense? It's school sports day all over again, isn't it? Someone wins the race, let's give the first prize to the last person. If he was good enough to be on the bloody pitch, they'd have both been on the pitch. The fact that they're on the bench says a lot for a start. It's Peter against Everton. It's an FA Cup game. And the world wants Ashley Young and his son to run around to break a record in a fake way. Nonsense. Absolute nonsense. I tell you what, if Ashley Young was a heart surgeon operating on someone you loved, and with 5 minutes to go, he went, my son's training up, do you mind if I get him on just to finish the operation? You'd say, get him away. Absolutely not. I'm paying for specialists. No sentimentality in this. But because it's the FA Cup, Peterborough are meant to go, you know what? We'll give up the chance to maybe get back into this game so that Ashley Young can be on the same pitch as his son. I mean, we're going to get so much out of that, aren't we? Screw that for a game of blockbusters. Absolute shit. Weak mentality crap. No chance. Absolutely not. If his son was good, he'd have started the game and so would Ashley Young, and we wouldn't need to create a fake opportunity where they can come on. It's football, not bloody Hollyoaks. Absolute twatness. Nonsense. And if Ashley Young's tweeting out gutted, maybe go and have a look at your Wikipedia page, mate. You've earned millions out of this game. You played for England. You've won trophies. And you're gutted because you weren't on the same pitch as your son in the FA Cup. Oh, well, I'll tell you what. How's about next season, you both go and play for some shit team in the FA Cup and break the record? I've solved it for you. Goldbridge has fixed it for you. Both of you go and play for Harrogate next season in the FA Cup on the same pitch and you broke the fucking record. Absolute nonsense. It's 2025 wrapped up, isn't it? There's people in the chat going, oh, come on. It would have been a nice moment. I don't give a shit about nice moments. I tell you what's a nice moment. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer winning the Champions League legitimately in a game that matters. That's a nice moment. Nice moments cannot be artificial. Nice moments should happen on merit. Second place shouldn't get a sticker for first. If you're crap slow, you shouldn't get a first prize. That's the way the world works. Why are we trying to make life artificial? Why are we trying to generate moments? Live the moments. Create the moments. Do it on pure ability, not on handouts. Screw that. No, absolute nonsense. Sully says, that's a horrible take, Mark. That coach is a hater. Mate, you know what? Give Darren Ferguson a statue. I love it. I absolutely love it. But then again, in defence of me, I am the sort of person that would have a house party, put a song on I hate that everyone likes, let it play for 10 seconds, turn it off and put something on I like. So, you know, I am a bit of a shit at times. But no, I tell you what, I guarantee I wouldn't have done it either. Everybody would have wanted me to do it. I wouldn't really want to do it. I'm losing a game I want to win. It doesn't fit. It doesn't fit for me. It doesn't fit. The winning mentality doesn't fit. I'm losing a game, I'm disappointed, and then I go, you know what, doesn't really matter. Let's get this nice moment for everybody now. Everyone get your phones out. We might be losing, but let's get this nice moment now. Screw it. No, absolutely no. No, you can tell Darren Ferguson's related to Sir Alex as well. Absolutely brilliant. Island Man says, Mark's off on this one. I'm not off on this one. It's a divisive topic, and I have an opinion on it. I am not surprised I'm in the minority because the way the world works these days, everybody wants to create these crap artificial moments that don't have any merit. I would rather wait 10 years and see a father and son play on the same pitch in the FA Cup who are fucking good enough. That's my point. I don't want to generate fake artificial moments because there's an opportunity to do it. There will be a father and son playing who break this record who are fucking good and are good enough to be on the pitch. That's my point. You can create your little moments if you want, but I'm saying, why should they break the record? If he was good enough, they'd both be on the bloody pitch. That's all I'm saying. And I think that if you want that moment, I get it. But for me, I want these records to be broken with integrity and merit, not with artificial. And I think all these people going, Darren Ferguson's miserable. Oh, he's so miserable. I don't think he is. I don't think he is at all. I think he's got the right to make that choice. And I don't think he was sat there not picking players because they weren't good enough. Dreadful take, once in a lifetime memory for them. Oh, couldn't give a shit. Could not give a shit. Mate, really couldn't give a shit. Lifetime opportunity for Ashley Young and his son. Oh, great. Should we do that for everybody in the world, shall we? Come on, it's a life lesson. Life's not fair, mate. Welcome to the world. Get a fucking t-shirt. Life's not fair. People die and it's not fair. People don't get jobs and it's not fair. It's a great lesson for his kid. Work harder. That's a horrible... anyway, look, at least it's generated some good conversation. Right, the games are about to... The games have kicked off. We are 5 minutes in. I really did go to town on that one, didn't I? Okay. What should we put on the telly? Because that's the missing link. No, we won't put that on. There we go. Right. Have we got any goals in the FA Cup? All the games today. You've got Chelsea playing Morecambe. They've been playing for 5 minutes. Don't think there's a chance of anything happening with that. But we have got a goal in the FA Cup. It's at Sunderland, and it's a goal for Stoke. Apparently, it was an absolute amazing shot from Cannon. His name was Tom Cannon. It was a penalty. Probably unlikely that he smashed the shit out of it. But they are 1-0 up. It's the first goal in the 3 o'clock games. FA Cup, Sunderland at home to Stoke, 1-0 to Stoke. Stoke, Mark Robins in charge. We want him to do well. Shouldn't have been sacked by Coventry. Lampard's doing shit. Leicester are 3-2 up. It's in the second half against QPR. We've got Bournemouth, West Brom, 0-0. We've got Brentford, Plymouth, 0-0. We've got Chelsea, Morecambe, 0-0. We've got Exeter, Oxford, 0-0. We've got Norwich, Brighton, 0-0. Forest, Luton, 0-0. And Reading, Burnley, 0-0. We'll keep you up to date with all of that. But Chelsea, let me just tell you, as the team news going round, has it actually moved? I don't know. Every time I look, it's not. It's stuck on Morecambe. So let me just get that moving around for you. Get your comments in if you've got any other controversial opinions. I think I've took the lead on it today. 82% possession for Chelsea at the moment against Morecambe. But let's have a quick look at the Chelsea lineup. I mean, for me, this is another conversation I want to have. I like the FA Cup. I just worry about the FA Cup. I mean, look at the Chelsea lineup. Jorgensen, Reece James, and he's injured. Tosin, Disasi, Vega, Lavia, and Kunku, João Felix, George, Neto, and Gu. The amount of rotation you get is just absolutely incredible. I sort of understand it, but yeah, it's... I just don't know what we do to rescue the FA Cup. I really don't. I even think that Man United and Arsenal will probably be one of the only 2 clubs in the Premier League that go strong tomorrow. And Man United are rotating their goalkeeper, which I don't agree with. I speak from experience. We won the FA Cup last year and we got into Europe. And if we hadn't won the FA Cup, we wouldn't have been in Europe. It amazes me how... And I seem to say this every year, but it amazes me how teams like Fulham and Bournemouth and Brighton and all these teams that could easily go do well in this tournament and win a trophy and get in the Europa League, they rest players. And I find it baffling. I really, really do. We've got a Vardy goal for Leicester, apparently. Let's have a quick look. Yeah, they're 4-2 up against QPR. Jamie Vardy's just made it 4-2. Hopefully, Rude's going to take it seriously at Leicester then. Hopefully. Guarantee people who wanted the Youngs to play together also came last at Sports Day and still got a medal, says Sam the man. Mate, I'm not surprised. I'm going to run a poll on it. I'm not surprised a lot of people are pissed off that they didn't get to see both Ashley Young and his son on the pitch to break the record. But my stance is they're not good enough. They're not good enough to be on the pitch. Why are we handing out prizes to people who aren't good enough? But there's a lot of people at School Sports Day who absolutely love the idea that when the person who finishes first blitzes everybody else, all the shit kids get a first prize as well. This is the world we live in. Some people absolutely love it. Player of the match, what's all that about? Villa v West Ham, says Kenneth Turney. I didn't watch that much. Grinchbridge, says Migooch. I agree, Mark. If they're on the pitch through merit, it's a tad ironic he was denied by a man with an undeserved Premier League medal, says Daz. I watched the Villa West Ham game a little bit and I switched it off after the corner that Villa scored from that wasn't a corner. I just was like, fucking hell, you know. And I want Villa to win. I prefer Villa to West Ham. I've got more mates who are Villa fans than West Ham. But I switched. You know why I switched it off? because I just thought the linesman or the referee have given a foul. Sorry, have given a corner on a guess. And I thought, you know what? I ain't watching this. Not interested in this. I'm not interested in corners that get given on a guess. So I turned it off. Yeah, we've had a goal for Leicester AW. We did announce it about 5 minutes ago. It was Jamie Vardy and it's 4-2. We're on the pulse here with the 3 o'clock games. Poll it, Mark. Okay, let's poll this. There we go. Should both Youngs have been on the pitch? Do you think he should have subbed the Son on to break the record? Or actually, do you think it should be on merits? Get your comments in below and give us a live chat. Thanks everyone who's tuning in, by the way. I wasn't going to do this stream today. I really wasn't. But I thought, you know what? I've been busy since my morning show on the United Stand. I've been doing a bit of DIY. I've played a bit of pool. I've been down the pub. I've had a whiskey. And it was still 2:30. And I thought, you know what? I will do the 3 o'clock game because there's absolutely nothing going on. I think this is a dead weekend. I really do. I was looking at the fixtures, and I can't wait till Tuesday. Forest against Liverpool. I can't wait till Wednesday. Arsenal against Spurs. We'll be doing watch-alongs on this channel for that. Make sure you subscribe. Even Man United are playing on Thursday against Southampton, and next weekend's a good one. We've got some good games, but I'm just really... I can't find a game. Let's play a game. Can you find a game in the FA Cup where we're going to get a shock? Because Wycombe beat Portsmouth, Villa beat West Ham, Cardiff beat Sheffield United, Everton beat Peterborough, Fulham beat Watford. I just can't see a game where we're going to get a shock. Can Plymouth get something at Brentford? Morecambe at Chelsea, you're having a laugh. Brighton, Norwich, could Norwich knock Brighton out? In fact, let's have a laugh. Let's have a laugh. I'm on one here. Get your controversial opinions and your either-ors in. Right, Brighton, not going to finish in the top 6. Got an amazing squad. They've gone to Norwich and they have picked Estebanan, Matoma, Baliba, Minte, Ruta and Ciso. They have rotated. They've got a game midweek, but they have got quite a strong team. They should do quite well. What about Brentford at home to Plymouth? Have they gone strong or have they gone weak? They've gone weak. Mbumu on the bench. Weezer on the bench. Fleckin on the bench. I don't fleckin believe it. I don't fleckin believe it. Brentford are not going to finish in the top 6. Brentford are a good side. Brentford could win the cup and get in the Europa League. That would be amazing for Brentford. But he's fully rotated his team. I just don't understand it. How do we get the FA Cup back where people give a shit? I don't know. I tell you what, it looks foggy at Swindon. I don't know whether the game's been called off. Mark, have you got the Reading-Burnley game on too? Should be one hell of a game, says Goldio. We'll keep an eye on that. Are you doing a Monday night watch-along, says James. Why, what's happening on Monday night? You got me interested now. What's going on? Monday. Millwall against Dagenham? No. I think I'm doing next Monday night. Next Monday night, Chelsea Wolves, I might do that, but no. No. Not interested in that. Get your comments in, thanks. Keep an eye on the NFL stuff, Johan. We're definitely doing the Super Bowl, and I'm thinking about doing the playoffs. Not every week, next week, starting from next weekend. If the Bills beat the Broncos tomorrow, I'm gonna do the Bills next week as a watch-along. Any other goals in the FA Cup? We have got a goal in the FA Cup. It's not in a glamorous tie. If I told you it was in Exeter, you'd be right. It's not to Exeter. It's a goal for Oxford, and it's a goal for Phillips. But we've got another goal. We've got another goal, and it is a Premier League club, and it is a potential shock. Bournemouth. Now then. Bournemouth have Massively rotated. Massively rotated. They don't have hardly any of their good players playing. Again, I don't get it. I think it's thick. But they are losing 1-0. And I say hear, hear. Hear ye, hear ye. I'm ecstatic about this because West Brom have scored a goal with Taylor. I don't know whether they've rotated. I don't understand the EFL enough to know. But Bournemouth are losing 1-0 to West Brom. And I'm here for it because you look at that Bournemouth and Brentford lineup and you absolutely despair at the modern state of football. You've got Arsenal playing Tuesday night, Sunday, Wednesday night, weekend, midweek. Bournemouth play one game a week. Oh, you've got to play weekend and midweek. Let's rotate. Why don't they take the FA Cup seriously? It's one, I might be one voice singing in the darkness here, but every year it irritates the shit out of me. Why can't Bournemouth and Brentford put their strong teams out in the FA Cup and try and win it? Why don't they do it? Why don't they do it? They're not in Europe. You're not in the Carabao Cup. Imagine Wembley with your fan base. Imagine winning the FA Cup and it goes down on your Wikipedia page. FA Cup winners 2025. And then you're in Europe earning more money. Why don't they do it? Why? Why don't they do it? Every year you see the likes of Brentford, Fulham and everybody else rotating their teams and I don't get it. Oh, we've got a game midweek. So is bloody everybody else every other week. Oh, I don't know. It's because of the poor prize money, says Mr. Monaghan. The FA Cup cannot live off reputation. I actually think the Carabao Cup is in a better state because it's earlier in the season. I think by the time the FA Cup comes around, you've had a busy Christmas, you're halfway through the season. I think the timing of the FA Cup could be what the problem is. Just looking at Chelsea, they're going to get a penalty for a handball, and it certainly is a handball, isn't it? I think he thinks he's playing netball. I'm not joking. The cross comes in, he's got his hands up here. I mean, look, I think it's harsh. I mean, what is that Morecambe player doing? I'm not joking. He put his hands are up like that. It's not like that. It's like that. He thinks he's playing bloody netball. Thinks he's goal attack. Absolute prat. Absolute prat. Chelsea penalty. But Nkunku's going to take it. I'm hearing it's been saved. Obviously, we will update you when I definitely know. It's a good save. Keeper's made a big save. Well done. Nkunku. It's just not gone well, has he? It's not gone well for him at Chelsea. It really hasn't, but he's bloody missed it, and it remains 1-0. Rank these villains: the Joker, Darth Vader, Titanic, Old Woman, Freddy Krueger, or Sir Jim Radcliffe, the fraudulent vampire. I've said my piece about the Old Woman on Titanic. I think she is an absolute bitch. I've said it so many times, and what I really like is that she doesn't let him on the door. She hides the jewellery that's worth billions that would have made her family really rich, throws it in the sea at the end. I mean, that's just the definition. She's basically Scrooge without the redemption. Imagine that, right? You meet a guy, you're going to marry him, he gives you a priceless bit of jewellery. As soon as you get on the boat, you can't wait to drop your knickers. You shag the guy, he saves your life, you get on a boat, you don't let him on. As he dies. The guy who gives you the jewellery dies. You marry somebody else. You never tell him about the jewellery. You never tell your kids about the jewellery. You never tell your granddaughter about the jewellery when you're going to die. And the night you're going to die, you throw the jewellery back again. I mean, that is just absolutely some weird, sick, twisted version of selfishness. On top of that, I quite like the way when Leonardo DiCaprio is dying on the boat door, and basically he's dead, actually. He's already dead. She is holding his hand, which is frozen because she wouldn't let him on the door. And she goes, I won't let go. I'll never let go. And then literally breaks his frozen hand and throws him into the sea to sink. I love the words of I won't let go as she's breaking his frozen hand off hers and get off me, you tramp. Did do a City Salford watch-along, says Caitlin. Nah, waste of time. I'm going down the pub. Have you watched Slow Horses? Yeah, the questions are getting good now. Ken Drew, Slow Horses is fantastic. Give it a watch. Rivals on Disney as well, if you like a bit of... it's very good. Thank you very much for that. A few super chats coming in. Still 0-0 between Chelsea. But we've got another goal for Leicester. 5-2 to Leicester against QPR. Leicester are heavily rotated as well, by the way, but they've still got too much for QPR. And it's game over there, really. 5-2 Leicester. I'm just having a look at the Forest Luton game. Have Forest rotated a lot as well? Ward-Prowse. Yeah. Yeah. I absolutely despair and don't understand it. Every Premier League team is basically putting their reserves out. Should do a Titanic watch-along. Mate, you wouldn't want to watch me watching that last few minutes. Go mad. I'll get cancelled. The stuff I'd say about Winslet. Not Winslet in real life, but, you know, that character. Absolute disgrace. Do you think VAR should be like challenges in MLB? Says Shocks. No. Thank you very much. Have you... Yeah, done that one as well. Sir Alex Ferguson or Pep poll. Should both Youngs have been on the pitch? 46% of you are the future of the planet. You're going to save it. 54% of you are going to sink and destroy the planet. Absolute nonsense. Then again, I'm glad I'm in the 46% because it just tells me that, you know, half of the world are thick. I can't believe you actually think that we should be putting both Ashley Young and his son on the pitch just for a nice moment. Fucking hell. No wonder everyone goes to a concert and puts their fucking phone up instead of watching it and living the moment. I refuse to do a Sir Alex Ferguson or Pep poll, by the way. You're having a fucking laugh. Actually, I will do it because I know what'll happen. You can't start a fire. What's for tea? I'm going to have a takeaway tonight. Arsenal have to play our under-9s if we want to rotate, says Toby. Thank you very much for that. Any more goals, Mark? No, it's Bournemouth 0, West Brom 1, Brentford are 0-0 with Plymouth. I'll love it if Bournemouth and Brentford get knocked out for picking, and Forest. I'll love it if you all get knocked out. I can't believe it. I'd be absolutely fuming if I was a fan of Brentford or any of them teams because I just don't get it. As a fan, I want to win trophies. And I can't say it enough. The FA Cup saved Man United last year. We're in Europe because of it, and we got a trophy because of it. And the arrogance of these clubs to rotate their teams. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong. Bournemouth haven't played since last weekend. Neither have Brentford. And they're resting players again because they've got a game midweek. Madness. Absolute madness. I mean, it's a novel concept, but imagine if a Fulham or a Brentford or a Bournemouth decided we're going to take the FA Cup seriously and pick our strongest team in every round. I imagine they'd be protesting outside Fulham's ground. What's this? What's this? We're trying to win a trophy? And the trophy gets you in Europe as well. Just don't get it. And on top of that, the favourites for the trophy, the Arsenals, the Manchester Cities, maybe the Man Uniteds, the Spurs, whatever, the Liverpools, by the time you play them in the FA Cup, they'll be deep in Europe, maybe in a title race. They're going to be weakened and tired anyway. You'll have had a whole week off. I mean, imagine if you're Bournemouth in the FA Cup semi-final and you're playing Man City, but Man City have just played midweek against Real Madrid and they're knackered. I mean, it's a no-brainer. It's an absolute no-brainer for every team in the Premier League that's not in Europe to try and win the FA Cup. And what are they doing, the Prats? They're fighting for scraps. They're fighting for 7th, which is the Conference League. I think the FA Cup puts you in the Europa League. It's madness. It's absolute madness, I'm telling you. I've never understood it, and I'd be fuming if I was a fan of those clubs. I mean, who's turned up to watch Bournemouth play bloody West Brom? I mean, they've only got an attendance of 10,000, so somebody will have turned up, but I wouldn't bother. Toby says it's just laziness and a lack of faith, I'd imagine. Yeah, it wouldn't happen on my watch. Ronaldo will be 42 when he plays with his junior, says Sulai Jr. Shuck says it's utter woke nonsense to think the Youngs deserve it. Thank you very much, mate. Please do subscribe to the channel, by the way, bottom right-hand corner. Bournemouth have just bloody scored. I knew it. I bloody knew it. They don't deserve it. Cliver, who scored, who actually is one of their first team players. Although, knowing Bournemouth, it's probably his dad. Oh, it's the FA Cup. Let's get his dad playing for a moment. And we can get Justin on as well. I 100% agree. It's a ticket to Europa. Why wouldn't you pick the best 11? It's a golden opportunity, says Ben J. I tell you what, and also what I tell you is, if Arsenal or Man United or Man City manage to make their way to the semi-finals of the FA Cup and you pull out Fulham, and Fulham have got a full-strength team, you're going to get beat. In April, you're going to get beat. Because Fulham won't be tired, but Arsenal and everyone else will be. Thank you very much. How thick are Everton? Dyche for Moyes, doomed, says Zach. Oh, mate. I'm fuming. No, I'm not. That's what I would be doing if I was an Everton fan. Actually, you know what? I am fuming. I'm not even I'm banned from Everton. I'm bloody banned from Everton, so it doesn't matter. I legitimately am banned. Google it. So really, I should be celebrating this, saying it's great. But I tell you why I'm not celebrating it, even though I'm banned from Goodison Park for God knows what reason. Everton, for me, were a club I really liked as a kid. I really liked Everton. I don't know what it was, whether it was the blue V-neck kit or whatever. I don't know. Goodison Park has always been one of my favourite grounds. I'm too young to remember them winning the league. I don't remember that. But I do remember the FA Cup final in '89. Stuart McCall scored 2 goals. I wanted them to beat Liverpool, obviously. And I always quite liked Everton. And I feel like they've lost their identity over the last decade. To go from Sean Dyche to David Moyes in 2025 is absolutely disgusting. Now, he will keep you up. He will keep you up. Look at West Ham. But you know what? I absolutely cannot get my head around this. West Ham wanted Moyes gone because they hated his football. So you're telling me West Ham, their fans, are more footballing connoisseurs than Everton? Bollocks. Everton fans, I spoke to loads of them when I did my Talk Sport show. I know a couple of them. Everton fans are into their football. Everton fans want their club to play a certain way. You are basically taking Everton's rubbish, West Ham's rubbish. I don't care whether he managed you before. I really don't. He is a fossil. And your football is going to be shit. I mean, you've gone from Dyche to Moyes. And what amazes me is, I imagine this week when Everton sacked Dyche, they were thinking, will it be Jose? Will it be a hipster? Something exciting. And you end up with David Moyes. It's absolutely incredible. Now, I think they'll stay up, of course, and he might get them to be a mid-table team, but the football's going to be shit. And what I will say is, why is it acceptable for Bournemouth, Nottingham Forest, Fulham and Brentford to be playing good football, and Everton can't employ a manager to get them playing good football. Everybody, even the teams that get relegated, Ipswich and Southampton, have played good football. But Everton, they're like the bloody natural history museum. Everton are a fucking museum. Look at Everton, they still play football like people used to back in the noughties. It's madness to me. I just don't. 2027 as well, a contract till 2027. It's madness, absolutely madness. And I think that Dylan MUFC is spot on. It makes Everton so fucking boring. You know, Brighton, I want to watch. Bournemouth, I want to watch. Fulham, I want to watch. I don't want to watch Everton. You're boring. Boring under Dyche, you're going to be boring under Moyes. And that's a horrible identity to have. I mean, we've had it with United a few times. Like, people have said, you know, not only are you shit, you're really crap to watch. And that hurts. You know, you want to be... You think about Leeds with Bielsa. I don't like Leeds. But I always liked watching them because it was always a good game. Best 11 or squad rotation, please, says Ben J. Sir Alex Ferguson has battered Pep, 81%. Good. Okay, so what's this one? Okay, let me do it. Either or. Best 11 in the Cup or rotate. Tell you what, we've only been going half an hour. We've had some cracking conversation. Benjamin, welcome to the Members Club. Thank you very much. A hot take you regret having, says Ice Surfer. A hot take I regret having. Yeah, well, there's always one that jumps to mind. When Liverpool bought Van Dijk, I literally said they've just spent 75 million on the Dutch Chris Smalling. Chris Smalling's not bad, by the way. I actually thought Chris Smalling was a steady centre-back and we would have been better off keeping him than paying 80 million for Maguire. But there's no way Van Dijk is the Dutch Chris Smalling. That one always jumps out at me. There's probably others. Alex G says, Goldio comes out with the weirdest super chats he needs to fix up. Can I have a shout out, please? Says Boys FC. There we go. Thank you very much to Zach Payne. Ben J, we've done that as well. Benjamin says, afternoon, hope you're well. I'm currently off today from work, which is nice. Praying for a cup upset and a Woking FC win today. Well, look, it's not a normal 3 p.m. games. FA Cup is actually what we're all about. We haven't had many goals. Leicester are going to go through. 75th minute, they're 5-2 up against QPR. Bournemouth are 1-1 with West Brom. They have got one back, even though they've picked their reserves. Brentford have picked their reserves, 0-0 with Plymouth. Chelsea are 0-0 with Morecambe, having missed a penalty. Ridiculous penalty as well. Definitely was a penalty. Basically, Morecambe player put his hands up in the air like that to stop it. Weird. Sponsored by Lynx Africa, I think. Hey, look, smell that. Exeter are 1-1 with Oxford. They've got a goal back themselves, Exeter. A cracking goal by D. Mitchell. Still 0-0 between Forest and Brighton, and still 0-0 between Reading and Burnley, and Norwich and Brighton as well. Stoke are leading 1-0 at Sunderland. That's your latest scores at the moment. Do you see Dyche getting a Premier League job again, says Rebecca? No. No, I think football's moved on, and I think you have to move on, which is why I'm surprised Everton have gone with Moyes. There's just so much wrong with that. Oh, you know what? I'd be so depressed if I was an Everton fan. You can't polish a turd. You really can't. That is just so uninspiring. Even if he does okay, you're going to be stuck with boring football mid-table for the next few years in a new stadium. Yeah, I don't know. Tom says, you laughed at me saying Forest would be top. You sound like bloody Nigel Farage. You laughed at me saying Forest would be top 4 by Christmas in November, and now they're challenging Arsenal for second, says Tom. Yeah, okay. I hope you win on Tuesday. That'll make... I'll tell you what, that game, can't wait to do the watch-along for that. Kyle says Everton has got good players. Well, don't show him David Moyes. Constantine, I'm not a readout about 34 Ds. Come on. Got another Bournemouth goal coming in. Have we? Have we? Yes, we missed it. Bournemouth are 2-1. They must have heard me slagging them off. Kataro Dar has scored, whoever that is, and it's 2-1. Of course, the flip side to the coin is that you could win games of football with your reserves by, rotating your squad and giving people a chance. Still don't agree with it, but there we go. What do you think of the Liverpool game, Mark? Didn't watch it, Ahmed. I'm not really one for watching reserves of other teams I don't support playing football. I think Man United Arsenal tomorrow is going to be great. Looking forward to it. But everybody else is, Spurs, Tamworth, Chelsea, Morecambe, Liverpool, Accrington, Stanley, Man City, Salford. Pick your bloody under 18s. Piece of piss. NAU says, I want to pose a question to you regarding Amrim. What if he knew when signing there are no funds for January and we'll have to wait for the summer? I think that's why he didn't want to join till the summer. Man United said now or never, didn't they? Trent scored an absolute screamer earlier. Says Matt. Got a Brighton goal coming in. I would love Brighton to do well. I'd love them to win the FA Cup and go strong. They are 1-0 up against Norwich at Carrow Road. Whatever happened to Norwich? What did happen to Norwich? Just a standard championship club now. They're losing 1-0 anyway. 38th minute. Brighton. When's the FA Cup draw? They probably do it on Tuesday, don't they? When on This Morning or the One Show. Rutter has scored 1-0. I tell you what, it's quite interesting here. Again, it's a bit like the Ashley Young thing. I just think half the world are thick. So we've got best 11 in the cup, 51%, and 49% are saying rotate. So half of you think that teams should be rotating in the cup. Well, instead of clicking a button, tell us why. Tell us why it's a good idea for Fulham and Bournemouth and Forest and Brentford to rotate their team in the FA Cup. I can't wait to read some of these out because they don't play in Europe. They only play one game a week and they're never going to get in the top 6. So why would you rotate? And I know Forest are in the top 6 at the moment, but normally you wouldn't get in the top 6. So they've been rotating every other year. Why is that a good idea? Why is that a good idea for your fans when I guarantee you, quarterfinals, semi-finals, you put your strong teams out against the top 6, they're going to be tired, they'll be looking at the Champions League. You have got a great chance of winning this tournament, going to Wembley, winning a trophy, getting into Europe. I don't get it. Paul Matt says, you're acting like Moyes is not a good manager. I'm not acting. Mate. This is 100% legit. This ain't Hollyoaks time. I'm not acting like David Moyes is not a good manager. I'm telling you, he's a boring manager. I've seen him at Man United. Shit. West Ham, boring. Everton, boring. I'm not saying he's not an effective manager, but in 2025, he is boring. Surely for Everton in their position, results are more important than style of play. Look at West Ham, says Paul. No, I disagree with this, Paul. I disagree with this. Sean Dyche would have kept you up. You see, you pulled me in now, Paul. Dyche would have kept Everton up. So if you're bringing Moyes in to keep you up, I don't get it. Dyche would have kept Everton up. He's done it all his career. That's what he does. So why replace Dyche with Moyes to keep you up? I don't know who runs Everton Football Club, but bloody hell, it's scary. It's really scary how bad that football club is. The question is subjective. It depends on who they are facing. If you're facing some random team, you should rotate the squad. But if it's a top team, play with your best 11 and that's all, says Nahon. Yeah, fair point. Apparently Forest have scored there, 1-0 up as well. Got some goals coming in. Chelsea are 1-0 up as well. Let's have a look at that. Who scores for Chelsea? Nice to see Reece James fit again. Oh, it's a lucky goal as well. It's deflected. I think it's Tossen who scores. Deflects. Nothing the keeper can do. Yeah, it's a crap goal. Really crap. Edge of the box, shoots, deflects off the Morecambe player. Goes in the bottom corner. Really scrappy, crappy goal. Exeter are now leading against Oxford. Mitchell scored again. Son of Phil. And I'm sure someone said Forest are winning. They are. And it's Yates who scored from them on the 40th minute. So we've got a goal in every FA Cup game at 3 o'clock apart from Reading Burnley. Bournemouth are 2-1 up after going 1-0 down to West Brom. Oh no, Brentford Plymouth is still 0-0. Chelsea 1-0 up against Morecambe now. Exeter 2-1 against Oxford. Norwich are losing at home to Brighton. Forest have now scored against Luton. They're 1-0 up. Reading 0-0 with Burnley. And Sunderland still losing at home to Stoke. Hi Mark, I think teams should play their best 11, but the FA Cup gives chances for teams to play youngsters that you can't play in the Prem, says Denowan. Yeah, but that contradicts itself. That's my point. So you play youngsters in the FA Cup and lose. So what you're basically doing is my point. You're devaluing the FA Cup. So you won't pick your reserves in the Premier League because you don't want to lose in the Premier League, but you will pick them in the FA Cup because it doesn't matter. That's my whole point. People should take it seriously. Take it seriously. I remember when I was a kid, the FA Cup used to be massive. I wish we could get it back, but I just don't see it. I mean, I was on about this the other day. Have you seen that Club World Cup? I thought it was just a week of a couple of games and then it's a month. It's basically a World Cup for clubs. I think there's 8 groups of 4. So you play 3 games and then you go into the final 16. It's absolutely massive. It's absolutely incredible. I don't get it. I don't get. I agree with Reece Gregory. Football's lost its soul. There's too much football, and the problem with too much football is, if Arsenal lose Saka, there is no other Saka. If Man City lose Haaland, there's no other Haaland. There isn't an infinite resource of interesting players. So you're getting players to play more games. They physically can't do it. So what you're going to do is you're going to dilute football. And that's what's happening in the FA Cup. The FA Cup is still a great tournament. It's diluted by the fact that people use it as an opportunity to rest players. I think Courtois was on about it. Robbie was saying yesterday, he won't physically get a holiday for 2.5 years because this summer it's the Club World Cup. The summer after that, it's the World Cup. It's incredible. It's incredible what we're happening. It's incredible what we're doing to players. Do you, Tom, thank you very much. Not to read that out. What team outside the top 6 could win the cup? Any of them. Any of them. Fulham could win it. Brighton could win it. Forest could win it. Bournemouth could win it. They're all capable of beating Liverpool on their day. Accrington Stanley, who are they? Says Dr. Kempo. Out. Apparently got another goal going in for Bournemouth. Are they taking it seriously? Since we've moaned about it, it's 3-0, 3-1. West Brom falling apart. Bournemouth 3-1 up at half-time. They're cruising. Let's have a look at Brentford Plymouth, actually. How's that going? Plymouth obviously sacked Rooney. 30% possession, but they both only had 2 shots in the whole game. So 0-0 there between Brentford and Plymouth. Has anybody been able to get World Cup tickets yet? Says Caitlin. Yeah, Chelsea are winning. It was a scrappy goal, but they are winning. Gary Matthew, thanks for your super chats. Appreciate that. I tell you what, I've had some good conversation here in the first 45 minutes. Enjoyed the Ashley Young chat, and I've enjoyed the rotation chat. If you've got any other controversial takes, let's get into it. Oh, have you seen this from... I'll tell you what, we'll react to it. I'll probably talk about it on the 8 o'clock show on the United Stand. Joshua Zirkzee to Man United hasn't really gone to plan, and there is a feeling inside United that it was a mistake. No shit, Sherlock. No shit. Look, we're not all United fans here, but all I'd say is, if you're an Arsenal fan, a Fulham fan, a Liverpool fan, do you want Zirkzee? And actually, take Arsenal and Liverpool out of that, I don't think Fulham would want Zirkzee. I don't think Brighton would want Zirkzee. I'm not sure Bournemouth would want Zirkzee. So it's not been a success. John Healy says, to be fair, Mark, fringe players and subs need a start to keep squad harmony. Not playing them against lower leagues also shows the manager has no faith, says John. John, I think I'm appreciating the democracy and conversation here. This is why I love this channel. I agree with you. Can I just shock you, John? I do actually agree with you. I think there is always a layer to a conversation, and if you are Brentford at home to Plymouth, then you probably should do a bit of rotating and put your stronger players on the bench, which is what they've done with the likes of Mbeumo. But what we never see is Fulham or Brighton or Brentford or Bournemouth in the FA Cup final. And that's because they don't take it seriously. So I think that's my point is, okay, if you're playing somebody a bit shit, the gap is so big between the Prem and the Championship, you should rotate. But what about, why are they never there at the end? And I think that's because they do rotate in the later rounds as well. Cheetah says Accrington would take Zirkzee. Thanks for the comment though, John. I liked that. We have had another goal in the FA Cup. I can tell you that the goal has gone to, I can't tell you because I'm not looking. The goal has gone to Brighton. It's 2-0 to Brighton. They've taken it very seriously. It's half-time between Brentford and Plymouth, 0-0. But it's Rutter again, right on half-time. 2-0, Brighton. I'll tell you what as well. Can I just say this? Well, I will. Last season in the FA Cup, I was really disappointed. There was a few games where I thought the magic of the FA Cup. One of them was Sunderland-Newcastle. The other one was West Brom Wolves. West Brom and Sunderland were at home against their local rivals. Newcastle and Wolves just wiped the floor with them. The gap for a Championship and Premier League derby was incredible. Absolutely incredible. The gap between the Championship and the Premier League is getting bigger by the year. That is why it's always 3 up, 3 down now. Norwich are at home to Brighton. Listen to this. It's 2-0, right? But Norwich have had 38% possession. You might expect that. They've had 1 shot on goal to Brighton's 5. They've had 4 shots altogether to Brighton's 13. They have had absolutely their arses smacked. And yet Norwich are a Championship side. Brighton are a mid-table Premier League side. Something has changed in the Premier League. And I know what it is. I have the answer here. Most of my life, a Championship team playing a Premier League team could be a shock. In the last couple of years, the gap has gone massive. And I think the reason for that is that if you look at Fulham now, or you look at Brentford now, they will have international players. They will have players that are very good players. And they won't, this is bottom half of the Premier League teams that have got really good players. Look at Crystal Palace. Championship can't deal with that. They can't do it. They can't do it. What has happened to the pod on YouTube? It is much better on there live and much more interactive. Video pod's much better anyway. Seriously consider, says Aaron. No, it's not happening. The Goldbridge Arms has been dismantled this week. We've moved out of Solihull Moors. And that therefore we will not be doing live podcasts for the rest of the season. So it won't be happening, Aaron. You're not the CEO. I am. end of. It will be on Spotify till the end of the season. We have got some plans in the summer, but yeah. Has there ever really been a breakthrough player that's come from a cup rotation start, pick the best 11? Why ruin the chance to acquire silverware, says Ollie Doff. Tom, I'm not saying that. You're just being a twat. James Cave says, afternoon, Mark. Hope this contributes for a pint for you soon. Which position on the pitch do you think requires the most ability and skill? Honestly, I think a position in the midfield. Oh, you know, everyone's laughing at you on Instagram, falling over. They said it's a foul. It was a foul.
No, the second one, Lila tripped me up.
Yeah, it's a foul.
Yeah.
Should have been sent off. She did it on purpose. Every time I watch it, she sees your feet and then goes round with the lead and trips you up.
The first one.
I haven't put the first one up.
Oh, good.
I can't put the first one up because you're on a river and people will go, health and safety, you shouldn't be doing that. People drown.
No, it wasn't a river. It was like
a stream.
Yeah, like a little lake going down.
Yeah, but you know what people are like? They're woke.
I know.
6-2 to Leicester. Yeah, he had a little tumble. It's on my Instagram at Goldbridge Mark. Random, and I know it's not a United stand, but I feel a lot of people are harsh on Delo, says Omri. Bit random. He's covered 2 positions for 2 years with non-stop football, including internationals. Played well last week. Did play well last week. Going back, thank you very much for that super chat, Omri. And James Cave, who contributed a £5, that will go towards a pint, mate. I love it when people do that. I mean, you don't have to do it, but I like it when people go, have a pint, I like the content, because it just makes me feel happy that we have such a lovely community. But the hardest position on the pitch, I think, in my experience, having played the game and watched the game and coached the game, I think my hardest position on the pitch, if I was going to decide it, I think that midfield. It's got to be in the midfield. Is that your dog, says Bailey? Yes, got her about 6 months ago. Yeah, I think midfield is the hardest position because you do the most running and games are won and lost in the midfield, in my opinion. I don't think your best players are in the midfield, but I think it's the hardest position to play because it's like a game of chess playing in the midfield, and it's so much about energy and stamina. But then when you've got the ball, it's what you do with it. I mean, some of the best midfielders in history get the ball and just don't give it away. You look at like Rodri, his pass completion rate is incredible. And that's possession. Possession is so important. But possession by going side to side or backwards is a waste of time. So I think midfields, and I would include the number 10 in that as well. I think playing number 10 is not easy. In the modern game, you've got to do a lot of running as well, but you've got to be creative. Imagine everybody's doing their job, but you're not scoring goals. Everyone's going to look at the number 10. Do your best Graham Souness impression, says Caitlin. All I can do is, I've played the game. I've played the game. I'm telling you now, I've played the game. I've played the game. Thank you very much for that. Do you think Arsenal or United will put their reserves out tomorrow, says Colin. If Man United put their reserves out tomorrow, I will lose it. And I love Amorim, but I will lose it. And that's what I'm talking about Bournemouth and Fulham and Brentford. As a fan of those clubs, surely you want to win a trophy. The FA Cup rescued our season last year. We were shit. We're the holders of the FA Cup. We're not going to do anything in the league. Apparently, we're 11 points off 5th place. No, 12 points off 5th place. So we're not, you know, I don't know why any United fan would think we're going to win 10 in a row anyway, but we're not. We're not going to win 10 in a row, and we're not going to close that gap. So we've got the FA Cup and the Europa League. We've got to go hard in the FA Cup. If we rotate, I'll be fuming. Mark, why has the gap gotten bigger between the Premier League and the lower leagues? What's the root cause driving this? I used to love the FA Cup, says Rohan. It's very simple. It's the money in the Premier League. Fulham and Bournemouth and Forest can outbid teams like Atletico Madrid, Marseille, Juventus. So there's so much money in the Premier League that we have got a really competitive Premier League. And the reason we've got a competitive Premier League is because a lot of teams in the Premier League have got a lot of good players because they can afford it. The Championship can't. So not only do we create the best league in the world with the most competition in the world, we've also created a massive gap with the Championship. It reminds me, if anybody's old enough, of Serie A in the 90s. Although they did have a cap on foreign players, you would have probably 12, 13 of the Italian teams would have three really good players. Like really good players. I mean, you think about Parma, they had Asprilla. Who else did they have at Parma? I can't remember. It's so long ago, but that's basically what's happened. And when you look at the Championship now, I said at the end of last season, Man City will win the league, and it's half time in all the games, by the way. I'll give you a roundup in a minute. Man City will win the league, and the 3 teams that get promoted will get relegated. Obviously, Man City aren't going to win the league, and that's absolutely a massive surprise, and it's a lovely surprise. But Ipswich, Southampton and Leicester will go down. They will go down. And when you look at that, I think that I can already tell you, well, look, I can't get you the Championship up. There's no point. Leeds are top, Burnley are second, Sheffield United are third, Sunderland are fourth, and they're all very close together. Are any of those teams staying up next year? Leeds, Burnley, Sheffield United, Sunderland. Leeds are a big club. I'd like them to stay up. I like the rivalry with Leeds, but they're all going straight back down. Leeds, Burnley, Sheffield United, Sunderland. They're relegated now. They're not even promoted, but they're relegated. They're going straight back down next season. There's no team in the Championship at the moment that you would go, they've got a chance of staying up. They just haven't got the players. They haven't got the quality. Winning the FA Cup was like winning the Super Bowl and was the greatest thing ever. Now everyone sees it like the Milk Cup. Very depressing, says Ewan Mulhern. DBS, Kroos, Modric, Zidane. What's DBS? Drop bench cell, Joshua. Okay, don't change the words. Drop bench cell. No, what's DBS? You mean SBS? Start bench cell. Start Zidane, bench Modric, sell Kroos. Thank you very much for that. Appreciate it. What's your predictions for Arsenal United tomorrow? I think it's going to be a good game. Leicester have beaten QPR 6-2. Right, let's go through the half times. Leicester have beaten... we've had a few games today. Birmingham beat Lincoln 2-1. Wolves beat Middlesbrough 2-0. Blackburn beat Middlesbrough 1-0. Accrington Stanley lost to Liverpool 4-0. Leicester have beaten QPR 6-2. Bournemouth 3-1 up against West Brom. Brentford are 0-0 with Plymouth. Chelsea are 1-0 up against Morecambe. Exeter are 2-1 against Oxford. Norwich are losing 2-0 to Brighton. Forest are 1-0 up against Luton. Reading, Burnley 0-0 and Sunderland Stoke 1-0. And look, here's a case in point, isn't it? Wolves, Bristol. Bristol at home. Championship club. Wolves go to Bristol and win 2-1. Brighton, Norwich, Championship club. Brighton 2-0 up at half-time. Bournemouth, West Brom. Bournemouth have rotated, still 3-1 up against Championship West Brom. They're just pushing these Championship clubs aside. Too easy. City says it's Bristol City, mate, not Bristol, mate. Get a club in the Premier League and we'll start respecting you as a football club, a footballing city. Bristol City, Bristol Rovers. Come on, you're a rugby city. Don't start talking to me. I can't say Bristol for Bristol City. Mate, Bristol's a non-entity at football. You're nobody. Am I supposed to know that you can't call Bristol City Bristol? Bristol City, you can't say Bristol. It's Bristol City because there's Bristol Rovers as well. Get in the Premier League and I might start educating myself. Do you think that you and this community are actually at the top percentile of football experts because of the sheer volume of football you consume? Therefore, you could also do better than Ineos. I agree with you, Dan. I do, yeah. Is that a bit elitist, says CJ? No, I said Bristol lost to Wolves and I get pulled up because I didn't say Bristol City. I don't know anything about bloody Bristol. 51% would rather rotate in the FA Cup. Interesting. But then again, 51% of you would have brought Ashley Young's son on because you're a bunch of prats. No, it's all about opinion. I like it when it's divisive. Hi, Mark. Random question. Which were you taught about? Who won the Revolutionary War, Britain or the Americans? Surprisingly, Brandon, we don't really give a shit over here, so we didn't get taught it. We got taught about JFK. We got taught about World War II, but the Revolutionary War between England and America, no one actually gives a shit about over here. So we didn't get taught it, and I don't think I've ever read about it. If don't know about something, don't come on Tenet, says Simon. You don't have to have an opinion on everything. SS says because you lost. Oh, we lost, did we? I don't know. I won't sleep tonight now. What year was that then? When was the Revolutionary War? Who was involved? I'm telling you now, mate, I won't sleep now. Apparently we lost that one. Was that last week? Who was at home? Was it a series? Did you claim you won because, you know, like you do the World Series? I don't know anything about it. Was Columbus involved? Was he the captain? Oh, I think he was actually Spanish. Might have been Italian. I mean, I don't know. 1776. Can't fucking go. Mate, I don't give a shit. That's your history. It's not our history. I'm fuming. I'm fucking fuming. I knew it. Who was the manager? Sack him. Tactics were terrible. Bet we parked the bus. Should have played bloody Gegan Press. I bet we parked the bus. Arrogant. I bet we thought, you know what? They're rubbish. They won't hurt us. Let's just park the bus. Absolutely. But it was David Moyes in charge. Guarantee it. Yeah. Fucking, I'm fuming. I won't sleep tonight. Where's the Wikipedia page? Look, I'm joking. I do like history, but I don't claim it, you know? There's a lot of things that went on in history that even 20 years ago, even when I was growing up, you know, racism, sexism, homophobia, it defines who we are in relation to who we are, countries, societies, but I don't really spend a lot of time claiming victories from the past. I mean, God, I loved 99 in a footballing sense. It was amazing, but how many years ago was that? How many Champions Leagues have been won since then? How many titles have been won since then? It's buried. I can't live off 99. It was a great time, and I witnessed it, and I loved it, but I didn't witness 1776, so I can't say that the defeat really resonated with me. Will Forest beat Liverpool and win the league, says Hugh. I can't wait, actually. I can't wait for these Premier League games this week. I think the good thing about the FA Cup this weekend is it gives us Premier League games midweek. 8 o'clock on Tuesday, we will be here. Forest, City Ground, Liverpool, 8 o'clock. What a game. Basically, first against third. Wednesday night, got to be last chance saloon for Arsenal. Can't not win. Home to Spurs, NLD. We will be here for that. And then Thursday, Man United play Southampton. Might actually win a game at Old Trafford. Might actually score at Old Trafford for the first time in fucking ages. I'll be on the United stand for that. So good week of Premier League action incoming. Bournemouth have scored again. We've started the second halves. Bournemouth were losing 1-0. I was taking the piss out of them. I was saying, they're not taking it seriously. They bloody are now. He's got a message on the pitch. They're 4-1 up in the 47th minute. West Brom are getting battered. Absolutely battered. And Bournemouth lead 4-1. Semenyo has scored there as well. I'd love, you know what though? I'm not taking the piss out of Bournemouth. I'm not taking the piss out of Fulham or anybody else. I'll bloody love it if one of them lot won the FA Cup. Really would. Akshay says, clearly people in the UK are not taught about British colonialism in school. I wouldn't like to comment on what the curriculum is in the UK these days. I could guess a few things. but like the Disney Channel, I think it's all about ticking loads of boxes, and therefore you can't teach everything. The army that defeated Napoleon couldn't have routed 10k colonists. Come on, says Grant. Oh, here we go. There's surely places for you lot to go. Nick P says, Mark, I love your shows with Robbie. They feel very grown up and respectful. A new era of football YouTube where people don't have to shout for views, says Nick P. I know what you mean. I saw something the other day I got sent, and I was like, I thought that person stopped doing YouTube content 5 years ago. It was like going back to 2017. And I thought, you know what? I spend a lot of time talking about the Linekers, the Nevilles, the Carragers, and how I believe this is better. But this will be harmed if that shit starts coming back, because that's not the way to watch football. It's thick. What I call fan cam content, screaming and shouting bollocks. We've moved past that. Southgate was in charge of the 1776 English team. That was not my words. That was Lucas. What would your ideal striker signing be for Man United? This is multi-fandom. That's not just for United. I mean, what about Chelsea? What about Arsenal? What could you do in the January transfer window? I mean, I saw Man City have signed a player, haven't they? Here we go, centre back. I think that in January, I'm realistic. Someone like Mawani would be worth the risk on loan. But in the summer, I would be looking at someone like Gyökeres or an Osimhen. That's got to be the like Greg Donald says, Gyökeres or Osimhen. That's got to be. It might be out of reach, but so is Man City and Arsenal. Like, they're out of reach. You're not going to catch up with those, and you are playing catch up. You don't catch up with teams that have got people like Saka and Haaland by buying players that aren't that good. That's. I was talking about this on the United Stand this morning. You can try and be clever. You can try and reinvent the wheel. You can try and say you're going to do it a different way. But the cold, harsh facts are 30 years of the Premier League show you that if you don't spend money, you won't win. You won't be successful. Would you take Darwin Núñez? Yeah. Hello. What are you doing to your chest?
No, I was...
Oh, you've tucked it in.
Yeah.
You know it's only 4 o'clock and you're in your pyjamas.
I know it.
Why?
No, I don't feel like it.
Oh God. What was the film like?
Good.
What was it? Mufasa?
No, yeah, Mufasa.
Are they mates in that one?
Yeah.
You know he kills him in the other one.
No, what do you
Scar?
mean? I know, Scar gets killed in
Mufasa?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
He doesn't, because he's in The Lion King. Oh, it's Disney again, isn't it? Ruining things. If you haven't watched Mufasa, Seb, I don't think he has ruined it, because Scar's definitely in The Lion King. Disney do ruin a lot of stuff, though, don't they? I mean, look, I like the Santa Claus, which is made by Disney. I like Donald Duck, but they do ruin a lot of things. Mainly Star Wars. It's Cyan wants a word of the day. Word of the day. Whenever I think about a word of the day, chuff. I just think it's an amazing word. Disney killed Star Wars, says Damon. They did. Oh, it's so bad. It's so bad. You know, last year I tried to watch The Last Jedi, and I was like, maybe it's not as bad. Fucking hell, it's terrible. Compare Darwin to Zirkzee, who would you choose? I like Darwin Núñez. I always have liked Darwin Núñez. I realise it's not a hot take, it's a cold take, but I've always liked Darwin Núñez. I really do believe that there is a player there. If you're holding a book with a bookmark in it and someone says, can I have that bookmark? Do you give them book or bookmark, says Dean. Never been in that position. I do want to get back reading though. What they did to Luke Skywalker was ridiculous, Jake. I mean, one of the most iconic heroes in film history returns by milking an alien and drinking its milk. I mean, can you imagine how many people that went through to get filmed? Somebody wrote it, somebody signed it off, multiple people read it and went, this is a good idea. And every legitimate Star Wars fan would have said, you're fired. He milks a fucking alien and then drinks it. I mean, I can't even get my head around it. The Ewoks would be disgusted, says Bob. I mean, I thought the Ewoks were stupid, really, as I grew up. Chelsea 2-0. Chelsea 2-0. I mean, I don't think Morecambe would score if we played till Christmas. But they're 2-0 up here, Chelsea. I mean, this is what I mean. These games are just boring, aren't they? I think it's Nkunku who scored it. Yeah, cut back, shot. Keeper makes a save, and then Nkunku makes it 2-0. So Chelsea going through as well. Bournemouth 4-1 up against West Brom. Still 0-0 between Brentford and Plymouth. No replays, remember. Extra time and penalties. Exeter still 2-1 up against Oxford. Norwich 2-0 down to Brighton. Forest 1-0 up against Luton. Sunderland still losing to Stoke. Reading, Burnley still 0-0. Did you see that United have recorded Joe Hugel, says Imp? Yeah, I don't think we'll be playing him, though. Morecambe are going to make a comeback, says Lucky 101. Devon, I never watched Acolyte. No, my mate said to watch Skeleton Crew, but I find it. I just don't. I just find it very difficult. Doctor Who? No, absolutely hate it. Never liked it. Romano's just said there's no more talks between Rashford and Como or AC Milan. There's probably a chance he goes to Barca or maybe to another Premier League team. Are you in the charity match this season? I don't know. I'm not expecting to be. It's at Wembley. I think there's some very obvious things they could do for that. So I keep getting asked this. I wish they'd just announce it because I don't expect to be, and that's absolutely fine. I'm not the sort of person who gets, if I get asked, great. If I don't, it's absolutely fine. More excitingly, just keep your eye on some stuff, hopefully, over the next 2 weeks that we're trying to get done. I'm really excited about. So, got some good stuff planned in 2025. Always like to do, like last year was the book. Year before we did the tour. Obviously, that's always been interspersed with some fantastic things like doing the Sidemen stuff or the Beta Squad. But, yeah, got some good stuff coming up this year, hopefully. So, very excited about it. But with me, I never say anything until it's signed on the dotted line. But it could be some exciting stuff. Would you rather be a manager or a player, says Harry? Oh, I'd love to be a player. How's Seb after his fall, Mason? He's absolutely fine. He was in here a minute ago. Check it out on @Goldbridge. There's another. The funny thing is, there's another one. I might put it up later. It's the other one's funnier, but I put that one up because obviously I could say about the red card. How come you're doing a watch along to this game, says Bob? Because I love the community and I just thought even if it's just 2 hours having a chat, answering questions. I mean, basically, let's just turn it into a Q&A. I never get the chance to do this on YouTube. I know all the games are shit, but I like doing the 3 o'clock games. We're better than Soccer Saturday, which is dead. Absolutely shit. I just quite like, I had a couple of hours, so I thought, sod it, let's do it. What do you think of Binder in goal for tomorrow, says Rips? I've got to be honest, I'm a bit worried about it because against Spurs, he made mistakes. And last time we played Arsenal a month ago, they killed us on corners. So unless it's tactical and Amorim thinks that Bienda's better on corners, if it's rotation, I'm a bit worried. Is it film night tonight, Mark? I'd like some films. If you've got any new film recommendations, that would be good. I do like a Saturday night film. You'd be rescuing me from Moulin Rouge, which was on the other night, and the missus said, we used to like that film. And I went, yeah. I faked it. She recorded it. So that's what I might be watching tonight. It's a musical. Help me. The Prestige is a very good film. Yeah. I tried to watch Den of Thieves, but it's not easy to find in the UK. If you want a recommendation from me, Wind River, brilliant film, especially because it's cold outside. Brilliant film. Yeah. What's the best bit of advice you've ever got? Says Ahmed. I don't know. I think the older you get, the more changes you make. I mean, I was thinking about this the other day. I just don't carry hate. I think hate is such a negative tool, and so many people do carry it. You don't need to hate somebody to, dislike what they stand for. But there's just so many things. Like, defeat is not the end. Sometimes I actually believe that not getting what you want can inspire you to go and get what you want. There's so many lessons in life. We're always learning. Every day's a school day. She'd love the house that Jack built, says Luna Scape. Do you want Potter to do well at West Ham, says Ted? Define well. I don't want him to be beating Man United, but I think West Ham. I don't know. I feel with Potter that when he was at Brighton, it was quite exciting. Chelsea obviously went wrong. But I do feel like Potter, since Chelsea, listening to him on the telly and that, I think he's got this aura of arrogance that, and I don't know whether that's fair or not, but it's almost like he thinks he's better than he is. So he's got to live up to do that. He's got to start living up to it. Rohan is sick of woke crybaby culture in media sport. Have you seen the All or Nothing series on Amazon? Says Kesman. Yeah, probably. Are you going to do the Salford game? No. What a waste of 2 hours. Mate, that will be 3-4-0 cruise control for Man City. Yeah, absolutely not. What's the biggest land animal you could kill in a boxing ring, says Fraser? I wouldn't willingly kill any animal. Who will do it first? Arsenal winning the Prem or Spurs winning a trophy? Arsenal winning the Prem. 3-0 to Brighton. They're 3-0 up at Norwich. A third goal there. And it's going to be, well, I think it was game over anyway, but Norwich certainly won't be coming back from that. Bournemouth are 4-1 up against West Brom. Still 0-0 between Brentford and Plymouth. There's got to be a goal there because it can't be a replay. So, and Ciso has scored for Brighton to make it 3-0. Hi Mark, I need to collect some research for a presentation. Could you do a poll, please? Are content creators more reliable than journalists today? Says Jordan Jones. Well, I'll put it out there. I mean, I actually have the answer for you, but I'll put it out there. I think as one of the leading content creators in football in the world, if you're talking about reliability from the likes of Fabrizio and David Ornstein, I think they're in a separate category. If you're talking about what you get in the Manchester Evening News and other outlets, I would say content creators probably are better if it's the right sort of content creator, because when I do a show, there's certain outlets I won't talk about because I know they're talking shit. And I think what we do quite well is gather information and discuss relevant information, whereas I think modern journalism, I know for a fact that people have worked at places like the Manchester Evening News and the Daily Mirror and everything, and they are judged on articles and how many views they get, which leads into stupid headlines like Ronaldo to return to Manchester United. I can't remember what it was, but it read like Ronaldo was returning to Man United, but what he was actually doing is he wanted Man United to sign Casemiro. That gas station scene in No Country for Old Men, talk about tents. Wow, my pick for you, Mark. That or Magnolia would be worth a watch. I've seen both, Billy. Mark, this is old, but McSauce last year at St James's Park was class and made good tackles, but no one was there to get the second ball. And I'm just sad he never got the praise he deserves, says Huge Lad. I think a lot of people liked McTominay and still do. What's your thoughts on the NBA, says Evan. I never watch it. Still 0-0, Brentford and Plymouth. There Will Be Blood is excellent, says Luna. Yeah, I've seen it, it's good. I tell you what I was thinking about. When's Gladiator out on... must be still in the cinema. Mark, if you have a business and you got to make money, come on, you can do so much more with all the subs you got. Please get our club rid of the Glazers. Oh yeah, I can get rid of the Glazers. 2-0 to Forest. 2-0 to Forest. It's game over there as well at the City Ground. When is the... Sosa scored for them. When is the FA Cup 4th round draw, by the way? I've seen the gentleman. Are you going to do a Super Bowl watch along? Yeah, hopefully, fingers crossed, got something very exciting for that. Yeah. Watch Inception, seen it, Rob. I am a film connoisseur. I have seen a lot of films. Do you think Newcastle can keep their best players as Insanity? If they can't keep them, it will be because of FFP. Sunderland have equalised against Stoke. Alaxic has scored 1-1 there. 1-1 there. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel, by the way. Watchalongs are coming, and they are big. Tuesday night, Liverpool go to Nottingham Forest. Could we get the shock of all shocks, which would blow the bloody doors off this Premier League title race? And then, could it open up an opportunity for Arsenal against Spurs on Wednesday in the North London derby? Please do subscribe. We're only 200 subscribers away from 289,000. Get involved with the channel. Absolute legends. Thanks, everyone, for tuning in. I tell you what, you are legends. We've had nearly 9,000 tuning in for crap FA Cup games. So keep your questions coming in. I've got a feeling Forest will win on Tuesday, says Elements. I think it'll be a good game. Be a good game. Shane says he's having a drink. I will have had a few drinks by the time you see me live next. I'm on the United Stand at 8 o'clock tonight, so I will be having a drink, yes. I think I'm definitely going to get a takeaway, and I might go for a curry. So got to have a lager with a curry. I tell you what, I don't think I'm speaking out of place, but if I am, speaking to Ben Foster yesterday, because we still get on, and as I always said, the reason I'm not on the fill-in at the moment is because it's just time, bandwidth, travel. And we were talking yesterday. I actually went out for lunch together, and we were talking yesterday, and I didn't have an alcoholic drink because I just didn't want one. I don't have to always have one. But he didn't have one because he's doing dry January. And I said, oh my God. And he said, what? And I said, I can't stand dry January. I said, there's a level of I understand people giving up drink. Alcohol is a cruel thing, and alcoholism is an addiction. But giving it up in January, I never really understand it, because all right, you probably drank a lot over Christmas, but why'd you have to cut it out for 31 days? Why don't you just cut it out forever? Oh, because I like a drink. Well, have a bloody drink in January then. I don't. It's like people do it with chocolates. People do it with crisps. I'm just like, I don't believe in that dry January. I'm sorry, I don't. Everyone's allowed an opinion, and I think it's a load of bollocks. So I will be partaking in a couple of beers tonight with a curry. And a lot of you won't, because you're on dry January. And I tell you what, no, I won't say that. It's not very nice. Everything in moderation, says John. Yeah, look, I get it. Over Christmas, ridiculous. The amount of food I ate, the amount of drink I drank, it's too much. You can't sustain it. And I understand why people want to break from it. But I had a lovely glass of red wine last night. No, not last night. I had more than that. Tuesday night, I went and got one of these little red wine bottles, and I sat there, watched something with the missus, sipped away on it. It was lovely. Lovely. The draw is after the United game tomorrow, says Greg. Donald, thank you very much. And Lewis Vaughan's appendix says, have you ever heard of Wraith Rovers? Of course I have. I'm a football. I love football. Wraith Rovers, Plymouth Argyle, Hamilton Academicals. Plymouth are not Scottish. Airdrie, Ayr, Inverness, Caledonian Thistle. What about Bender December, says Cozy Cow, drinking every day until next December. Sounds like something else. Are you going to do Man City Salford? I can't believe you lot are going to do Man City Salford. If you're going to have it on in the background, I get it. If you're going to sit down and watch it, literally, you must be doing dry January. That is not entertainment. It will be an absolute shit game. The only thing that's all about is Gary and co getting absolutely ecstatically excited because they're on the telly. Done that. Just catching up. Done that. Should City be able to sign players, says Henry? Yeah, because they're innocent till they're proven guilty. Yeah. Who are more reliable? 65% are saying content creators and 35% are saying journalists. Tell you what, screenshot that and put that into every journalist. They'll be bloody fuming. Absolutely fuming. Love the show. Have you seen the series The Shield, says Andy? No. I haven't seen Mad Men. I haven't seen Suits. Yeah, there's a lot of good stuff I haven't seen. The Wire. Brentford are subbing on all their top players now, says Light Rays. Thank you, mate. What do you think about Mamouche, says Neptune? I think he's probably going to end up at Man City, isn't he? I tried The Wire and I got bored of it. Right, let's have a quick look at the scores again. Bournemouth 4-1 up against West Brom. Brentford still 0-0, but they're bringing on the big guns. 3-1 to Exeter now against Oxford. They're going through. Norwich 3-0 down to Brighton. It's the end of the road for them. Forest are 2-0 up against Luton. Reading Burnley is now 1-0 to Burnley. Burnley doing well in the in the Championship. Lyle Forster scoring in the 71st minute. Sunderland Stoke 1-1. Remember, all these games, there are no replays now. I mean, look, thankfully we haven't spoken about that. New Name says, come on Burnley. It's a controversial topic to not even have third round replays. I'm actually in agreement with it. But it is a money earner for some of these clubs. Silmer says, Fabrizio said we're in negotiations for a new contract for Mainu. Oh, mate. I mean, I'm a genius. What did I say last night on the United Stand? You put a story out in January that you're willing to sell Mainu. 2 weeks later, before the closure of the transfer window, you signed Mainu on a new contract. What have you done? You've absolutely spun the emotions of your fan base. You've killed the transfer window with like a new signing, and you make yourself look competent. I've played the game. I've seen the game. This is Glazonomics. The amount of times they do this with new players, with new contracts in January, and somehow spin not spending money and renewing a contract like they're competent. I could see it coming a mile off. Have you ever watched Psych on Netflix, says Hessen. No, I haven't, but it's 3-0 to Chelsea. They have scored, and again, it's another one from the edge of the box. I don't know whether it caught a deflection this time, but it's tossing again. He's got two. First one definitely deflected. I mean, fair play to all those Chelsea fans who've turned up. There's a lot of fans there. You're playing Morecambe at home. People love football. Edge of the box, toss in. Looks like there might be a bit of a deflection on this, but I'm not sure. Don't know. Maybe we get some confirmation on that. No, I don't think it was. I think he just used the players as a shield. There's no replays, Tommy, no. Straight to extra time and then penalties. Sidar says, can you recommend a film? I'm in the same boat, mate. I'm looking for a film myself. With great power comes great responsibility, says I am Ronnie. Chelsea have rotated, Bob, massively. Black Doves on Netflix is very good, says the... Oh, mate, I'm sorted for TV series. I've got so many to watch. Rolando says, what made you want to start the United Stand? 10 years ago. 10 years, the United Stand now. It's our 10th year. That's football. I can't remember when we started that. I think I played around with That's Football a little bit, but started doing it properly probably about 4 or 5 years ago. The reason I started the United Stand was because I love football and I was bored to death of the mainstream analysis. I found it really, really unfulfilling. So I just wanted to selfishly create an online forum, basically, where I could chat to people who were interested. I didn't expect it to get as big as it did. That's what she said. But yeah, that's what it was. Frustration with the mainstream. And I'm proud, actually, that 10 years on, the mainstream are now doing exactly what we do in many ways. So it's the plan's worked. It's to change the way football is covered, so to make it more interesting. And I think they are starting to pick up on some of the things we do. Badly, but it should get better. I'm not watching Bone Tomahawk. It's disgusting, Chloe. Not going anywhere near it. Brighton are 4 up now. Oh, it's over. Oh, it's been over for a long time, but it's 4. And the 4th goal has been scored by Solly March. Remember a couple of years ago, he was like really good. I think he got injuries. I've seen Wallace and Gromit, Fraser. It was very good. American Psycho's good. I hear Moulin Rouge is good. It's all right. It's just a musical. I don't want to be watching that at 10 o'clock on a Saturday night. What takeaway are you having? I think I'm going to go for an Indian tonight. The trouble is, if I want a Chinese, the best Chinese where I live, they don't deliver. So you have to go down and order it. It's cold out. I can't be arsed. Whereas an Indian, I can get it delivered. So that does play. That is an advantage to me. Nick P says, the youth won't believe this, but we grew up knowing scorelines every weekend, such as Wraith Rovers 0, Stranraer 0. Yeah, we did. That's how we got our scorelines. Yeah. What's your Indian order? I mix it up a little bit, Max. When I was feeling more healthy for most of last year, I would get things like salmon. But tonight, I'm just thinking, you know what? Give me the filth. Give me the tikka masala. Give me the naan bread. Give me the chicken pakora. Let's move. João Felix has scored. It's 4-0 to Chelsea. In the 76th minute, they're flying in now. Morecambe have... they're getting tired. They're lazy. They're getting tired. They can't live with the fitness. I used to love score updates on teletext. Loved it. Every Saturday afternoon, my parents would always be out because my stepdad used to play football and my mum had a horse. So Saturday afternoon, they'd be out, get the Sabutio out in the living room, give it a good iron, pristine, so you can play Goldbridge ball, and then get teletext on and just afternoon league on the Sabutio and updates in real life. Great, loved it. Maybe even had the radio on. Carry On is a good film, new for Netflix. Seen it, Dan. Saw it over Christmas. Wasn't bad, actually. Chart rundown in the 80s, says Bob. Yeah. Whatever happened to the music industry? I don't know. What's happened to music? Another one. Ramesh, are you doing the watch-along for the City game? Why would I do a watch-along of Man City, who I don't like, battering a League Two side? No. I'd rather do some job I don't want to do. In fact, I'll probably go in the kitchen in a minute and say to Mrs. Goldbridge, what job do you want me to do that I really hate? Because I'd rather do that than watch that. You know what, though? Nostalgia. I said this to you last week. In 2025, I just want to do entertainment. That's why I wanted to talk about the Ashley Young thing. That's why I threw the chair about David Moyes. I mean, that was a bit of acting, but I am still massively pissed off, and I'm not an Everton fan that they've gone for David Moyes. It's just disgusting. And I think you can have an opinion and be passionate about it without swearing or being abusive. And I don't think enough of that happens. So I make that pledge as always in 2025. I just want to be entertaining and have the real conversations. That's why I love it when people create a controversial topic for us to discuss here collectively, because I think life isn't controversial. I think life isn't entertaining. I think it's become very boring in many, many ways. And over Christmas, you're watching all this nostalgia. And I'm sat there going, why isn't TV as good as it was 30 years ago? And it's the same with music. Why can't we have a top 40? Why can't we have a top of the pop show? It was entertaining. People were interested in music. I have a specific genre of music I like, but I used to watch Top of the Pops every week. And in the top 10, I'd be aware of songs that I wouldn't really listen to, but I did because I was interested in that. Why don't we have that anymore? Why can't we have that? Why don't we make good sitcoms anymore? You know, why are films so fucking rubbish? Because they're ticking all the boxes. You know, it's not good enough, and there is no reason for it. Plymouth are beating Brentford. Now, we've got our shock. We've got our shock with 8 minutes to go. Plymouth have scored. Randall, 82nd minute. Whittaker. They did say Randall, it's Whittaker. Whittaker has scored. Brentford have had the likes of Mbumo and Wissa and Lewis Potter and Collins on for the last 20 minutes, but it is Plymouth who have scored here, and this would be a big shock. And I tell you what, if this happens, this is exactly what I was talking about. Brentford, on their day, are capable of beating anybody in the Premier League. So on their day, if they took it seriously, they could win the FA Cup. They haven't taken it seriously. They're going to get knocked out. And what's their season going to be? Another opportunity to win a trophy or go into Europe dead because they didn't take it seriously. And I don't understand why they don't. I really don't. I tell you what, it'd be great. It would be great if they did it, because we like a shock, and I think we look at this weekend and you just can't see a shock. And that's what Jaden Fisher, Notts County FC, says. At least there's one good upset as things stand. Yeah, we want some upsets. We do. Do you sleep with your socks on or off, says Stoker? Mate, it's been bloody freezing literally this week, and not one day have I wore socks. I don't do it. Brentford versus Plymouth is a better game at the moment. More end-to-end, says Vincent. Are there any players in the last 10 years who you thought would be brilliant and they fell off? João Felix scoring against Morecambe in 2025 is mad, says Sophie D. Good point. Andy Atherton says, Ineos are so unpredictable. Rashford, Sophie. I thought in 2025 we'd be talking about Marcus Rashford as a world superstar. And probably Anthony Martial as well. Ineos are so unpredictable. What would your reaction be if United finished 14th and in the summer they sold Mainu, sacked Amrim, or kept Rashford? Well, like you say, none of those things would surprise me. Backdraft's a good film, Punch Paint. Ted's turning over to Brentford versus Plymouth now. Are you going to do Tamworth Spurs watch along? I don't know what it is that excites people about watching shit teams get battered by better teams, but no, I'm not going to do that. That's tomorrow anyway, isn't it? Man United tomorrow, yeah. Oxford have had a man sent off. It's all over. As it stands at the moment, Tommy Deary is a Liverpool and Plymouth fan, so he's feeling very happy. Does it go to penalties if they draw, says Alex? Apparently it goes to extra time and then it goes to penalties. So yes, is the answer to that. Nathan says, what's the best thing about what you do? Being a billionaire. No, I'm not a billionaire. No, this. I love talking about football. I love interacting with people. So, yeah. And I like where the conversations go. And that first few minutes talking about the Ashley Young thing, I love it. Because not everyone agrees. So, that's the whole point. 5-0 to Chelsea, by the way. João Felix has had a couple of goals himself. Tossen's had a couple. And obviously Nkunku got one as well. I mean, not surprising, really, is it? Not surprising. I'd say City will beat Salford by at least 3. I would say maybe even 4. If they take it seriously, which they should. just having a look at the Italian league. Atalanta drawing with Udinese. Interesting title race going on there at the moment. Ronnie says, why is every person like Adam talking like he was used and wasn't getting enough from Goldbridge then? I'm Ronnie, says Ronnie. I don't know what the context of that is, Ronnie, but the one thing I would always say is that a lot of content creators get to a point where they realise they need to put me in their content for a little bit of interaction. But what you'll notice about me is I don't talk about any of them. So you'd have to ask them about that, because I don't talk about any other content creators. So yeah, and when I mean that, I mean obviously I'll talk about people like Gary Neville or Robbie, but that's in a footballing sense. I'm not interested in whatever stuff they're all talking about. Need to grow up. Hi Mark, first super chat. Thanks for all the laughs and interesting analogies. It really broadens my English vocab ammunition. I can't speak, says Nag. There we go. You're learning your English from us. Brilliant. There's going to be a whole generation of people from all around the world calling people chuff monsters and prats. I love that. I love that. Have you heard the band Inner Wave, my favourite band, says Who to Blame? I find it really difficult to get into new music these days because it's just not accessible. Good film, Mark. Mystic River, says Jason. Yes, very much in the Wind River category. Another film about rivers. Yeah. What's a chuff monster? I'd say for me, a chuff monster is basically somebody who thinks they know about something but factually couldn't. My favourite one is when you get a couple of people in their early 20s debating who's a better player, Rodri or Roy Keane, and then you do quick maths and realise it's absolutely impossible for them to have watched prime Roy Keane, who was playing in his prime in 1999, 26 years ago, and you realise you're on the mainstream watching a 23-year-old tell us that Rodri was better than Roy Keane, when they were literally right up their mum's chuff. So they're a chuff monster. It's as simple as that. Look, I can't tell you Brian Robson's better than Roy Keane. I can listen to Ricky and I can trust him, but I can't tell you, because the Brian Robson I remember was injured loads in the late 80s and was very, past his best in the early 90s. So I didn't see Brian Robson. I could pretend by looking on YouTube, but you don't learn about a player on YouTube. You learn about a player by living through that era. One of the advantages I have is I've seen the whole Premier League. And the likes of Vieira and Roy Keane are on a different planet to Rodri, who is a very good player. So don't listen to anybody under 25. Probably don't listen to any. I mean, even if you were 30, even if you're 30, Roy Keane was in his prime at 99. So that was 26 years ago. So if you're 30, you were 4. Chuff monster, forget it. Opinion, Ipswich, Bristol Rovers after Sawyer signing. Don't know, Dots. Don't even know what that means. It is still 1-0 to Plymouth. It's second minute of added time. Brentford 0, Plymouth 1. We're about to get our shock. We're about to get it. Goldbridge prepares his banging tweet. Bournemouth have scored again. 4-1 is going to be 5-1. Well, Bournemouth are winning. Bournemouth are going through. Brighton are going through. Norwich won 4 the other night as well. But Brentford are going to drop away. The only shock of the day. I am Ronnie says, Mark has a gold heart. Just because have the same initials doesn't mean we have the same brain. Mark really cries and doesn't act like people. Okay, I don't know what's going on here. I think it's a bit of a... Oh, sorry. So I've misread that. I think it's 2 people going on there. There's always 2 sides to a story, by the way, and the person who decides to tell the story publicly isn't necessarily the person you should listen to, in my experience. A lot of people say things publicly for sympathy and clout. If somebody's not saying something, there's probably another side. What do you think score is for Rovers Ipswich? This is Dot. I don't know. Have they played each other? Darko says, it looks like Pussy will start for City. I'm chuffed about it. Lovely stuff. When are Ipswich playing Bristol Rovers? I feel I need to know this now, being as I've had a super chat about it. Probably on Sunday, isn't it? Ipswich Bristol Rovers at 3 o'clock tomorrow. As is Arsenal Man United, where I will be live on the United Stand. Brentford Plymouth is still 1-0 to Plymouth. Bournemouth are through, they've won 5-1. Forest are through, they've won 2-0. Sunderland and Stoke are going to be going to extra time because it's 1-1. Reading and Burnley are going to go to extra time because it's 1-1. Can Brentford push it to extra time because it's 0-1? It's not looking good, Brev. Who do I think West Brom's next manager will be, says Harry. I didn't even know you needed one. Greg says there's a couple of people having an argument by Super Chats. It's all about the money, bro, says Ronnie. Cruz. I don't even know what this is all about. Ronnie, what I would say to you is stop trying to stick your nose into something you know nothing about. If you're listening to people talking about me and I'm not talking back about it, why would you believe them? Especially if they've got something to gain by using my name. They won't be the first and they won't be the last. People do it on social media every minute of every day. You're an idiot if you believe it. That's all I'm going to say. The truth will come out one day, but it will come out when I'm ready to talk about it, when these people are insignificant, which is what they are, which is why I don't mention them. They need to move on. I know everything about the back of my hand. Wait, says Bob. It's not over, no. It's not. It's still 6 minutes added time at Brentford. I've never watched Ted Lasso, Civ. I've never watched Sopranos either. 1 minute left, says Noel. Poor Brentford. Well, they should have gone strong from the start. Should have took it seriously. They're a team that could have won the FA Cup. There is a few games that are going to extra time. I'm not waiting for that. I want the Bills to win tomorrow because next weekend it's going to be bucketing it down with snow in Buffalo, and I love the playoffs when you get a game played in snow. Will Tamworth cause an upset against Spurs? Jack, never count it out with Spurs, but no, of course they bloody won't. Are you going to stay on for Salford? No. I'm going to go and do stuff I want to do now. I wanted to do this, but I'm not going to do bloody Man City Salford. God, what a waste of time. Watching a team I don't like batter somebody. Even though they're battering Neville, it's still not enjoyable enough for me. Still going. 8 minutes added on. Brentford Plymouth. I bet they're wishing they'd picked a strong team now. Reading and Burnley's going to extra time. Still going. Somebody said full time. I haven't had full time here. Idea, 4 clear goals and game over to save players, says Kirk Harrison. It is over, says John. No, still going. Oh, it is. It is. They think it's all over. It is now. Brentford are out of the FA Cup at home to Plymouth. That is a big shock. That is a shock, as I said. And I'd say Brentford have only got themselves to blame. Well done to Plymouth, says Bob. Thank you very much for that. Let me just get rid of those. West Brom lost 5-1, says Harry. They did. I think you might be a West Brom fan. Right, time for me to go and order my takeaway. I'm on the United Stand at 8 o'clock. Thanks everyone for tuning in. Bit of a different show today, but you know, nice just to interact and have a bit of a chat. I hope you enjoyed it. You can join me on the United Stand at 8 o'clock if you wish. Arsenal Man United's on the United Stand tomorrow at 3 o'clock. Our next watch along on here is going to be Forest against Liverpool on Tuesday. Got to say, FA Cup weekend, apart from Man United Arsenal, it's a bit, it doesn't hit the same, does it? It really doesn't. But you know what? It's a great tournament. Thanks. I think they need to do something about it. There's just something severely lacking, I think. But the magic of the cup. At least Plymouth have provided a big result. Take care, everyone. Stay safe. Make sure you subscribe. I'll speak to you on the next one.